I was always an artist. My mother actually allowed me to draw on the walls in a section of the house where she thought it was very creative and I wasn't messing other things up. So I've always had the desire to create.
My mother would have never allowed me to draw on the walls, never. But she did allow me to draw under furniture, and that's what I did.
I became a filmmaker because I wanted to marry the creative aspect of things with technical stuff, because I'm also technical too. So it was like two sides of the brain. I always wanted to weld, and Kathy, for my birthday, got me a welding course at the local community college. And I loved it, and that's when I got started with doing bigger sculptures, and it's all history from that point on.
For a long time, I always knew I was an artist, but I never had my art. And when I started to do art quilts is when I really figured out, boy, this is what I was meant to do.
One of the things I say about my art is that it's robot-free, because I'm not just designing a piece of art and then giving it to a fabricator to create it. I could probably do it that way, but it wouldn't have the joy. It wouldn't have the tactile experience of burning steel. It's a hands-on operation, and that's what I like about it.
How I start my pieces is I do a lot of photographs. I take them when I'm in the city or wherever I see something that really interests me. This is a piece I did of the old Whitney Museum in New York City. And I made a drawing from the photograph. I'll then scan it into my computer. Then I make a large cartoon. I put it together and I blow it up. I put that under a screen. This is a silk screen, basically, that I make. Then from there, I will fill up a syringe like this one with sodium alginate and dye. And then I will draw on top of the screen, on top of my cartoon, and fill this in, draw all the lines. So I'm basically tracing it at this point. And I will make all the little lines that will become the finished piece when it's done. This reacts as a resist so that the dye will not go through it, and then it also creates lines on the piece that's printed. Then I take my screen, I put it on a piece of fabric, and I print with dyes onto the fabric. And here is a piece that is, this is from this cartoon that has turned out. The black does this line thing. The color I put in here is the color of the dyes that I paint with. So I paint directly onto the screen with different colors of dye. And then I will take this and I will add to it. I will paint with textile paints and get it the way I want it to look. And then it will be quilted. And the whole thing about the quilting is I don't feel that my pieces are done until they've been quilted into. It adds another whole dimension. It adds layers of textures in there.
I try to build a model. These sculptural models are called maquettes, and this actually helps me figure out what I want to do. And I actually wanted to make these models so I can see in scale what it would look like. Both of these pieces are 10 feet tall. This one has a base of stainless steel. The center is a cube that's made out of marble, and actually it has a stainless steel frame that's inside of marble tiles that are epoxied together and then grouted. And this top sail rotates with the wind like a weather vane. And it's designed so that they'll stay pristine, they won't rust in the weather outside. And again, 10 feet tall from top to bottom. This other piece is made out of mostly aluminum with a steel frame. Everything that's brown here doesn't move, but the center is designed to move with wind. Both of these pieces were recently installed in Howard County, Maryland as part of their Art Sites exhibition, and they're going to be there for a year. This one is called Square Dance, and it's in front of the Howard County General Hospital. And this one is called Wind Song, and it's in front of the Arc of Howard County.
Sold a piece recently, and the person told me she was a fan. I mean, I thought, wow, that's so cool. I've never had a fan before. But she loved my work enough that when one came up in her neighborhood, which was in Ohio, in a show, she bought it. That's really nice when somebody loves your work enough to live with it.
This is a piece called Eye of Providence, and it sort of has the look of, if you think of the pyramid on a $1 bill, the all-seeing eye on the top of the pyramid, that's what sort of inspired this. It also has, it's being held up, these braces are in the forms of a Masonic compass that are holding it as well to add to the special arcane meaning of whatever the piece really means. This piece is also a model for a larger one that I'm making. I'll actually be cutting some steel for these long pieces. When this gets to be full size, these pieces will be 12 feet long. These are stainless steel pieces, stainless steel on the outside. The inside of the triangle is made of concrete that I've added broken glass to. It's broken glass and some other aggregates. And this is actually the top of a bottle that was a blue sake bottle that I used here. I polished the front. The back of it is unpolished, and that's what you can still see the pieces of blue glass and some of the other aggregate inside there. The larger version won't have concrete in it. It'll probably just be stainless steel or aluminum. I want it to be lighter weight because this will actually be about a 5-foot triangle, and I want it to be able to turn with the wind like a weather vane. Because we're both artists, we're interested in the other's thoughts, whether or not that changes how a piece comes out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but we're eager to find out what the other one thinks because we respect each other's opinions.
We're on the same wavelength. We're on the same wavelength. We look at art together. We go to museums together. We look at magazines about art together. And we'll say, what do you think about that? Or what would make this work? Or that's what Bob will ask me. He'll ask me, how do you think this piece will look? And we'll talk about it. So it's great because we're coming from two different places and two different mediums, but we come together on a lot of things, which is great.